So is it like kind of safe to say, this is more of an assumption, less of a question, but is it safe to say you're kind of tired of talking about Drake and Josh at this point?
You know, it's funny. It really, I wish I could give like a more provocative answer, but it just depends. Like in the respect of, I so appreciate how much people love it, and when someone is truly stoked on it and they come up to me in like a cool way and tell me how much it meant to them and their family, like there's kind of nothing better. But then of course, like there are just some people that are
hug me, brother, like randomly.
Yo.
Yeah, like just randomly.
Well, the problem with that is, right, it's like much respect to you that you love that line.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to give you in that moment. And I've had that happen to me so many times where someone will be like, hug me, brother. And I'll be like, amazing. And they're like,
what the hell, bro?
And then they just hug themselves.
Yeah.
It just, I'm like, I wish I could transport us into the show right now and like make all your dreams come true. But it's very, but I do get some. I remember this girl had said to me once, we like took a photo together, and she's like, I already know my caption. And I was like, oh yeah? I'm like, here it comes. She's like, you're never gonna guess. I'm like, I bet I might. She's like,
no, you're asking the one person who would probably guess.
Right. And she's like, I'm gonna caption it. Hug me, brother. And I'm like,
my God, I didn't expect that. Holy crap.
I want, like, first off, I'm like, how cute that you think you're the only one who thought of that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But, like, and I remember I just looked at her and I was like, why don't you try something else? And she was like, no good? I was like, no, it's great. But, yeah.
Huh. So it's almost like anything, if somebody starts to kind of almost like butcher it or like present it in an annoying way, of course you're not gonna like it. But if someone's just like, I like the show and like, it was a part of my life, thanks. Has anybody ever done that?
Yeah.
It's part of my life, thanks.
Yeah, good looking out.
Yeah,
you were my childhood. I'll be like, you're 29. Like, you're 2 years younger than me. No, I mean, it is. I think it's like any experience, especially one that you have as an adolescent or like as a teenager, where in the sense of it takes some time to fully appreciate what it was that you experienced and did. So early on, I felt such a need to like break out of that way that everyone saw me and try to do a bunch of other things that I felt were like more edgy or more challenging and not necessarily spoke to my strengths. And that was really important to me and great. But inevitably now, sort of being 32 and like so a quasi-adult human man, I've sort of fully embraced it, and I'm like, it just means a lot to me that people love it. And it's funny, there's this podcaster, Mark Maron.
Love him.
Listen to him? And he talked about, he was a stand-up for so many years, and podcasting, when he first started it, was sort of like a plan B. Like, it was not his intention. He wanted to be a huge comedian, but it wasn't working, so he became a podcaster, and then that sort of took off, and so people would say to him like, yo, I love your podcast. And he would always say, well, I'm a comedian too. Like, he would always feel the need to qualify, like, well, this isn't my main. So it's like, and he's like, and now with even more time, I'm just happy they say anything, like podcast, actor, comedian, you know what I mean? And so it's the same thing for me. Like, if it's Drake and Josh, I'm stoked. If it's like the whackness and this like little indie I did, I'm super proud. I'm like, oh, amazing. But just the fact that you made people happy is kind of, I don't know, it's dope, as the kids say.
Can you say hug me, brother, really quick?
Hug me, brother!
Thanks, man. That's all I needed. Anyways.
Yeah, thanks. This was fun.
No, but I that's kind of, also I kind of view what you did, because, like personally, your show was part of my childhood, but I always viewed it now as an adult. I'm like, oh, like Josh it was also a job. Like, it was a job, like how I had a job at Subway. Like, Josh's job was that show. And that's the thing that I think people don't understand about it, is that, like, with, like, something like Drake, like, because everyone's perception of you guys is that you should be very close because you were brothers on the show, and people sometimes take fiction, like a fictional thing, and they make it like, oh, that must be like what it's like in real life.
Right.
So but that's not always the case. So, but when you guys started out, was it something, did you guys start it as just like, I guess just employees of a thing, and then it grew into something else?
You're like clocking into the Nickelodeon factory.
Yeah.
I'm here to make laughs.
Yeah.
No, we started out as buddies because we were 13 or 14 in a similar sort of very specific experience that a lot of people couldn't, necessarily identify with. And so we had a great time. And then as we got older, and normally like we both went through our awkward teenage years, and so like I think it's just natural, especially when you spend so much time with, one person, that you naturally kind of bicker at times or what have you. But I don't think that was sort of like anything out of the ordinary. And the real truth is, if I'm like being like dumb honest, because if I was ever going to do it, I'd want to do it in your car with you, Brandon Calvillo, is that like I have a really like deep love for the kid. And I always have. We had a specific experience that only he and I will ever understand. And like it makes me joyful to see him do well and to have happiness, and I think the same is for him. And so it's kind of, how do I say it, and I know this sounds fucking corny, so forgive me, whatever the public's perception is of our relationship is or isn't, or like what we should be doing to them, all I ever want to say to them is like, whatever you think you know of us is only half as deep as it really is. So like, I don't have to, I don't have to talk to him every day to know that like whenever I see him, we're gonna be like, we were when we were 14 and working together for 12 hours a day. Will always be in each other's lives. Yeah.
That was sweet.
Kind
I mean, that was that makes sense. How it just blossoms into something bigger, and when you guys see each other, it's just like old times. Yeah. I mean, like, you told him when you were having a kid, like, you went to him, you're like, hey, like, were you excited? You were excited to tell him just like you were everybody else. But, like, I'm assuming it was much deeper for him because you've known him the longest.
Yeah, and I think it's also that trippy thing of, like, what? Like, I think when you look at each other, whenever you have a friend who's of your similar age and you guys have a long history together, I remember when my best friend Len was like, I'm engaged, and I'm like, fuck you, we're 9.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you're engaged? We're in 8th grade. And then I was like, oh no, you're 28, and that's completely appropriate.
Yeah.
And
then it reminds you of your own
mortality.
Mortality and aging. You can't do things that are grown up, because that means that I am now grown up. You and your, then girlfriend, now wife, having a child.
I know, we've procreated, and now the baby's coming. And, the 9 months thing is such an interesting trajectory. I imagine that, it's been put in place specifically by, like, nature to allow you to prepare. Because, like, the first month for me was complete shock. And then, like, the next 2 months are a lot of fear and anticipation and anxiety. And then, like, by month 4, then you start, like, hitting the stride, and it just became, like, really all good.
Yeah.
Because usually, they say for women, the second trimester is pretty comfortable. Like, it's where they kind of feel their best. They're over the morning sickness, traditionally. They're kind of, like, they're not too big at this point, so they're still moving and feeling comfortable. And now, we're sort of in, like, the final stretch, and I'm like, oh, baby Jesus, dear Lord.
Is it hitting you then?
Yeah.
It's finally hitting you.
Yes.
Huh.
But it's all like, here's the thing. Brass tacks, like, I have an incredible wife who has an incredible family, and I have an incredible mom and network. So I know, like, the baby's taken care of. Like, I'm not a complete deadbeat. I know that I will do at least the bare minimum that's required, and probably more than, to be, like, a good father.
Yeah.
The only thing, like, selfishly I'm in anticipation of is the imminent disruption of my routine.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, I'm not going to be able to go to the gym when I want to, man. I'm not going to be able to,
get tased by David Dobrik.
Not going to be able to shoot Jonah with a paintball gun when I want to.
Right.
I get that. I mean, it's letting go of that. I mean, it's everybody's inherently kind of selfish, because that's all you have is yourself, your whole life.
Right.
Up until you have children, and letting go of that instinctual selfish nature. It's almost I mean, I could imagine it's kind of relieving because now you're not doing everything for you anymore. You're doing it for somebody else. You know, like there's a purpose for everything. Because you kind of, you go to the gym, you eat, you shit, you're just like, oh, like it's just for me. It's all me. You know, like it's almost being like funneled into nothing. But you're funneling all your time and care into, and this is like what everyone's supposed to do too.
I think so. Like, I'm not one of those, my mom, God bless her, is one of those people that if she'll see like someone in their 40s or 50s who's successful but never had a child, she's always one who's like, but it would have been so nice if they had a baby. Like, they must be unfulfilled. Yeah. And I actually feel like listen to people when they tell you things. Like if someone's like, I'm not a kid person, I want to be like, maybe you're not. Mm-hmm. Like maybe you are like slightly selfish, a good person, but like probably because I think there are some people that have kids that shouldn't. But I think for the majority of us, having a child exposes you to a way of life that is beyond your understanding and broadens your horizons like you could have never expected. And I think what you said was right, is that like I'm 32, like I've had such a lucky life with very cool experiences, and like how much more like hot yoga and dinners and brunches can you do to where you're like, all right, I did it. Like, I'm
next phase, please. Kind of.
Next let's move it on.
Yeah.
Chapter it up. So I don't know, like I fucking hate Disneyland. Like no shade, no tea, no lemonade. Like I'm glad people love it and I understand that it's a wonderful thing. And like I will be in a Disney movie if they ever reach out.
Yeah.
But
what is that noise?
Oh, it's the C-stand, I think.
Jesus. There we go.
It's still slight, but
it's not making no noise though. That's all I was worried about.
Okay.
I was like listening to what you're saying and then I heard in the back and I was like, oh no.
I think we good.
Anyways, the imminent change of your life.
But the idea of getting to go to Disneyland with my kid and seeing it through their eyes and then being like, oh, what? This exists? This is a place? Yeah. And like I'm the only one who knows, like, yeah, it's an expensive place, you little jerk. Yeah. Like, it just cost me $200 just to get in. Yeah. But like to watch them enjoy it, I'm like, bring it on, Disneyland. I'm down. Yeah. Like, let's have fun.
I'll pay everything you want me to pay, and I'll walk as much as you need me to walk.
Yes, I get the fast pass. I will stay at the Grand Californian.
You'll get the hat. You'll get the Mickey Mouse ears
with the name embroidered into that, which is like a $20 upsell.
Yeah. What you're saying though about experiencing life through a child, like that's what I saw. I don't even have a kid, but my niece is 3 years old.
Oh yeah.
And she is. It's weird seeing her develop, and now that she's 3, she's starting to ask questions, and the questions on paper are they're dumb questions, but they're because she's a kid. Like she goes like,
what is wind?
What is wind? She went we were watching a movie called Incredibles 2, and there's a scene where a raccoon starts to violently attack a baby. The baby has superpowers. I know this sounds like dark and morbid, but it's like a funny scene. And my little niece was like, why is the raccoon mad? And I had to contextualize, like, and try to explain, like, feelings. I was like, well, you see, because the raccoon doesn't like the baby because it's an animal and it's scared of the baby, and it's a different species, so it's naturally scared of the baby. And she went, when's this movie over? And then, but like even questions like that, or questions like, Daddy, or not Daddy, but Uncle, what's an apple? Like, what is this?
Right.
And you go, it's an apple. And she goes, what's an apple? And you explain.
It's an apple.
It's an apple. But you.
Shut up.
But you're. You idiot.
Watch Incredibles and shut up.
You're Apple and watch Incredibles. And let me go on Twitter for 50 minutes. No, but she. There's that like delight in, you are also re-experiencing an apple. Yes. You're re-experiencing something so like minute and menial as an apple. It's just like, I think that's you said it, but that kind of is the good thing about having kids, is re-experiencing all of life through them. I guess the big question I was asking was just more about, I mean, because you seem to have now acknowledged that fear, and when's the baby due?
Like in 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Ah.
You're okay, I think. You're fine. You're fine. It's a baby.
Yeah.
It's just a baby.
It's fine.
It's just a baby.
It's just a baby.
It's just another life.
A baby. A person that will rely on me for more than 18 years. Because I know a lot of shitty people in college and after that still need their parents' help.
Yeah.
They don't, they're not courteous enough to have their own TV show at 14 so that they can support their family.
Bastards. They're not courteous enough to start vlogging when they're 15 either. But you don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl.
No, we're going to be surprised. It's funny how used to things we become, right? Like vaping. Like people walk around with these fucking carburetors, and I'm guilty of it because I do it sometimes. These carburetors full of like magic, could be cancer juice, and like blow heaps of smoke, and we just go like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Because it's been around for 3 years and we just see it so much. Like in 20 years, if people's legs are falling off, we might all be like, oh my God, can we believe that we allowed that? Like that was okay. And similarly with like not finding out that what the sex is, people look at us like we're fucking crazy. And I want to be like, guys, like, this technology, I don't know how long the ultrasound has existed or like the blood tests for it, but it's probably been, give or take 50 years. I'm guessing maybe less.
And the amount of time people didn't know has
millennia.
Yeah. Surpassed the amount of times people have been able to know.
Right.
So let's just go back to when people didn't know. I understand that.
Yeah.
Makes it more exciting.
I think so.
But now because when people know the sex of the baby, they usually start picking names and stuff. Do you have those? Like for both, you have two options.
We do have two options. My wife and I, we kind of we get in the ballpark of 2 or 3 names per gender, and then I'm like, I love these, and then she changes them. But no, it's inevitably it'll be whatever she wants because she's carrying it and being a superhero.
Yeah,
'cause that shit is so real, like
so crazy.
Oh my God,
it's just like
it's unbelievable what women do.
Couldn't fucking imagine.
I could never have an appreciation for it until I've been right there and like heard her at night, like not being able to breathe. Like, did you know that's a thing?
No.
Pregnant women just for the last 3 months can't really breathe.
But was it because the baby is just like restricting?
Like on their diaphragm,
Yeah.
and it just makes it really tough because the baby gets big and you're also like breathing for 2.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what that feels? Like,
it's like having somebody on your chest constantly, I'm assuming, right? Just get a raccoon and duct tape it to your stomach.
Yeah.
And you have to feed it. Every time you eat something, the raccoon steals part of the food and just that.
I imagine the raccoon's voiced by George Lopez. Because
of course, George Lopez voices most animals.
He makes every animated animal better, let's be honest.
He does. Yeah. I haven't even seen George Lopez in a human form for like 6 years. I'm pretty sure he just became the animals.
I've met him twice. He's always been he's one of those nice guys.
Yeah.
From what I can tell.
Just
always
like
very nice.
Old-fashioned, warm person.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've met your fair share of like the celebrity types, and I'm always
met like 1 or 2, and every time I do
Jason.
Jason and you and
Sure.
that's really it. I met Colin Farrell once. And
nice.
By meet, I mean we were at a stoplight, and I look over, and it's just Colin Farrell, and then he looks over at me, and I'm like, I'm not like shocked. I'm just like, oh.
and he goes, fine.
And I go, In Bruges, and he goes, have you seen In Bruges?
It's the best.
It's so good,
he's
dude.
Brilliant in it.
So good in that movie, and that's one of the few perfect movies in my head. Me and my friends, when we watched it when we were kids, we're like, that's pretty structurally perfect.
I would make out with Colin Farrell.
You would? See, what are some of the guys you would make out with?
I don't know.
Some of the guys because there's a difference because as straight men, we can acknowledge when a man is extremely attractive.
Paul Walker, R.I.P. man.
Yeah, Paul Walker.
A beautiful man.
Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood is the...
That's who you'd make out with?
Without a doubt. Quintessential. I know that's so weird.
Mustache?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ooh,
if I was gay, I'd go for the manliest man ever.
Such a dude. You go for a bear.
I'd go for a bear. Oh my God. I would snuggle with that bear in hibernation.
So hard.
Yeah, I'd be the honey to that bear. You know what I mean? That's what I'd be. But yeah, I guess that's weird. But what about you? Like
guys that make out with?
Guys you would be with if you were gay.
I want to make it weird and be like, well, one of them sitting right to my left.
That's so weird you say that, because one of them's sitting right to my right.
Fuck it. Turn the camera off. Guys that I would hook up with.
Celebrity crush, sort of. Like Daniel Day-Lewis, but that's very specific. Like Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood, like that guy. But like, for you.
Like, I would love, but I wouldn't want to physically be with The Rock, but I'd want to be his husband. I'd want to be Mr. Rock, like Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, I would just want to be his. And,
Sure.
And like,
come home.
Be on his arm.
Yeah.
And like.
Premieres.
I don't want to do anything like
you
sexual.
Look up at him.
Yeah, but like I want him to I want us to get in bed naked and he like people's elbow me and like, you know. And
you're watching videos on your iPhone while you're laying on his chest.
God, this has gotten weird.
No, it's such a, like, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, like I think it's because like I really love his Instagram.
Yeah.
And he has like these really epic cheat meals, and I want to join him in that cheat meal.
Oh, sure.
You know?
You want him to make you a cheat meal.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
He usually, here's what he does. He's on a sushi kick.
Uh-huh.
So lately, it's been just a huge plate of sushi. Like, I'm talking fucking 6-7 rolls.
Yeah.
And then he polishes it off with what looks like homemade chocolate chip cookies with peanut butter. He, like, lathers peanut butter on the cookie and then eats it.
Jesus.
I mean, the
guy's a god. He's a real god, you know.
He really is.
I think he is God. I think that he's God in human form, sent here to test us. You know what I mean?
I love him.
I love him too. I loved him in everything he's done.
Just a perfect human. He inspires me to be better. He wakes up at 4 a.m. to do cardio. Who does that?
Yeah.
Right?
The Rock does that.
Dwayne Johnson for president. Can you imagine that ticket? Dwayne Johnson and fucking Oprah? That would win. We'd beat Trump with that one.
I think actually, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we would. All we have to do is get better people that were on television than Trump in office. You know what I mean? All right, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.